Most times, the problem is not really in our conditions. The problem most times are in our perception of the condition. I always give example with myself. I had polio when I was a little over a year. Growing up was so difficult. By age 6, I had become perfectly suicidal. But you see, along the line, I learned one thing that is very important. Your perception of reality is very, very subjective. In other words, how you see something belongs to you. Don't care so much about how people say it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't care. So I started looking inward to see how do I see this disability. Along the line, I found out that disability wasn't, a death sentence. It was something I could glean out some beautiful things from. For instance, being disabled in my lower limb offers me the opportunity to be in some kind of loneliness, meaning everybody can go out, run around, but I can't do that the way I would have wanted to do or the way others are doing. So it offers me more time to actually sit down, idle away, or do something with the time. At the time, I found that if I can invest these, you know, periods into learning, I'm gonna be better than a lot of people who have their legs. Why? Because they are distracted by their legs. They have the time, the leisure of using their legs. I don't. So I started looking at it from that perspective and I flipped the coin and I felt that disability is a good thing in disguise. So I had to say, what can I do with it? Now, getting it right, disability is not a good thing, but I'm trying to tell you something about perceiving reality. So when I perceive that I can flip the coin and use the good part of it instead of just looking at only the bad part, and when I did that, everything started falling into place. you know, Being the best in my classes, understanding more, being able to read one topic in 10, 30 books without getting tired, loving knowledge. Up to today, I wake up every day hungry and foolish, reading as if I have exams. Those were the things I built because of disability. And it gave me a superpower. Today, I work for multinational corporations, ministries, permanent agencies of government, federal, state governments, and all those simply because I have read and read and acquired a lot of attitude, skills, and knowledge by virtue of being lonely. So I recommend to you the pilot's mindset. The pilot knows that if she has to lift this big bird up in the air or to the air and then take it through thousands and thousands of miles and land it, that she has to be in the cockpit. And cockpit means you just have to have only few people in that particular part of your life. So live the pilot's life this year. Be able to have time for yourself. Be able to have time to think things through, to write, to plan, to execute, to take action, to be intentional, to be deliberate, to learn algorithms, to read, to write, to, go out there and find your key partners. If you look around you, quite a lot of things can discourage you. For instance, the inflation rate, the poverty rate, they can discourage you. But I want you to look beyond that and know that wherever there is too much pain, there is also the possibility of too much calm. Wherever there is too much scarcity, most times, if you look very well, you can find a lot of opportunity for greatness, for abundance. Wherever there is too much poverty, you look around, so much opportunity for riches. So change your perception and change your life. I did, and it was better for me than when I did it. When I didn't, I was depressed, lamenting, and I was always thinking that the world owed me something. And I was thinking the world was against me. But thank goodness, before I got to my teenagehood, I was able to see that light. I discovered myself very early. It helped. So I want you to discover yourself right now. This is a year of self discovery, a year to discover your superpower and go out there and do something. Where there is too much sickness, there's possibility for too much health. The same for sickness, the same for poverty, the same for crying, the same for mourning. This is a beautiful year. Make it beautiful. Stop just thinking that just what the government says or what you hear on the news matter. Take time to dig deep inside of you. You're going to see the things that matter. What is inside of you is bigger, far greater than what is outside of you. Remember, let's stay celebrated always.